Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Performance of To the Colors by the Three Forks Band and the posting of the colors by the American Heritage Girls, Montana 0406 from Three Forks. You guys can go ahead and take your seats. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Matt Bugland. I'll be your Master of Ceremonies. I'm the commander of the VFW post here in Three Forks. I will also be serving just a little bit of everything along the way. I'd like to welcome a few of our honored guests. From Steve Daines' office, representative, we have Liz Daewoo. From Three Forks, we have our mayor, Randy Johnson. On behalf of Three Forks American Legion Post and Vietnam Veterans of America, we have Mr. Dave Kennedy. For the Three Forks American Legion Auxiliary, we have their Vice President, Joan Dorsey and Levon Brooks. And today's guest speaker, Command Sergeant Major Aaron Butler. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Joanne Dorsey to please come to the podium. Joan Dorsey, pardon me, to set our place for our POW MIA.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. Whether you're a veteran, military veteran, or just a veteran. Well, thank you for coming. I'm honored to do the POW MIA ceremony, and it's better known as Prisoners of War or Missing in Action, which we do have both still in our globe and around the world. So we'll pay tribute to those who have served, currently serving in the uniformed services of the United States, are ever mindful that the sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agony of pain, deprivation, and imprisonment. Before we begin our activity, we pause to recognize our POWs and MIAs. We call your attention to the small table, which occupies a place of dignity and honor. It's over there. It is set for one, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs, MIAs. We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families, so we join together, we pay humble tribute to them, and to bear witness to their continued absence. And I might put in here that our airport is named after Dean Pagruda, people that have lived here forever, and he is still missing in action. And there are groups that are trying to find these military people and to bring them home so we can honor them again. The table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner, alone against his or her suppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. A single rose in the vase signifies the blood they may have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. This rose all reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep faith while waiting their return. A slice of lemon is on the plate, reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless fallen tears of their families as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us at this time. The chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts, to light their way home, away from their captors, to open arms of our grateful nation. The American flag reminds us that many of them may never return and have paid the supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. We're not allowed to have a prayer in the school, so may their souls rest in peace, and may God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joan. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Dave Kennedy, who will conduct the POW MIA ceremony. This is also known across many of the veteran organizations as seating our honored guests.
Good job, Joan. A POW MIA empty chair is placed at all official meetings of American veterans groups as a physical reminder and symbol of the many American POW MIAs still unaccounted for from all wars and conflicts involving the United States of America. This is a reminder for all of us to spare no effort to secure the release of any American prisoners from captivity, the repatriation of the remains of those who died bravely in defense of liberty, and a full accounting of those missing. Let us rededicate ourselves to this vital endeavor. Thank you.
At this time, if we could ask everyone to please stand for the playing of the national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much to the Three Forks Band. And now we'll have the third graders lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Outstanding. And now we have the third graders with the braid. Thank you very much, third grade. At this time, I'm going to ask a couple of our distinguished guests to come up and say a few words. From the office of Senator Steve Daines, we have his representative, Liz Zellweger.
Hi, good morning. I have some words here from Senator Steve Daines. He says, "Dear friends, thank you for the opportunity to share a few words as we gather this Veterans Day to offer our sincere gratitude to each man and woman who stood in defense of our freedom. Here in Montana, Veterans Day holds special meaning to families in every community, from Eureka to Ekalaka, who have witnessed their loved ones answer the call to serve without promise of returning home. Today, we are here to honor nearly 100,000 veterans, our sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, neighbors, and friends who call Montana home. Our state's rich history of military service has not only strengthened our nation, but our communities, and for our military families, our homes. As the son of a U.S. Marine, I know the sacrifices our men and women in uniform make in service to our country, as well as those made by their families. To our veterans and their families, I want to thank each and every one of you for your service. Your sense of duty and calling is an example I hope future generations will learn from and emulate. As we leave here today, may we remember the words shared in Mark 10:45. We are all called upon by God to serve others. While service takes many forms, for our veterans, that calling was to protect our freedom, no matter the cost. Today and every day, we honor your service, not just through words, but through actions, by practicing servanthood to others. From a grateful United States Senator, I want to thank you for your service. May God bless you. Sincerely, Steve Dames.
Thank you very much, Liz. And now at this time, Three Forks Mayor, our very own Randy Johnston.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for being here for this great celebration for our veterans. And this day is a special day for me, as you'll see as I read my story. On this Veterans Day, we pause to honor the brave men and women who have served our nation with courage, sacrifice, and unwavering devotion. Our freedom has been preserved because ordinary Americans were willing to do extraordinary things to leave their homes, their families, and their comfort so that others could live in peace and safety. Today, I'd like to take a moment to honor a remarkable group of soldiers, some who went to this very high school. These group of soldiers whose story continues to inspire. They were members of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, an all-Japanese American unit that served in World War II. At a time when many of their own families were unjustly placed in internment camps, here at home, these young men volunteered to fight for a nation that questioned their loyalty. Yet, they served with incredible distinction. The 442nd became one of the most decorated units in U.S. military history. Their motto was "Go for broke." They fought with exceptional courage and in some of the war's most difficult battles. And their heroism touches our community here in a very real and personal way. The 442nd and the 522nd Japanese divisions, battalions, were known as the Purple Heart Battalions because of the number of soldiers that were injured in combat. But from this very high school, I would like to recognize one man, but there were several. The Oi family, the Ito family, and the Satake family were all part of the 442. The young man I'm going to speak about today, his name is George Oi. I had the opportunity of meeting George. He was a member of the Three Forks Historical Society. He was at a book signing. And we became very good friends there. But most of you don't know that he was a star football player for Three Forks. In 1937, 38, and 39, George was our quarterback and led us to 3 conference championships. And speaking of championships, I'd like to bring up our girls football team and our boys football team for doing such a great job this year. Could you give them a hand? During that time, these are not in my notes, but from memory, George graduated in 1940. He worked for a year on his dad's vegetable farm, and then in the fall of 1941, he went to Montana State University, which was then Montana College. He was in ROTC, and he was the captain of the rifle team. He was a very good shot. Anyway, during that time, we went in October, December 1941, December 7th, when Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese. He was he told me it was a very, very upsetting day because his dad, who worked at Trident for almost 20 years, was fired the next day. And because of that, and then his dad had to also do some time in an internment camp. So, George, in that time of uncertainty and prejudice, George stood for loyalty, courage, conviction, and his service is part of our community story, a story that should make all of us proud. There's another chapter of the 442 service that deserves to be honored. In the final months of the war, a unit of the 442nd and the 552nd Field Artillery Battalion helped liberate subcamps of Dachau, one of the most notorious Nazi concentration camps. As the 552nd advanced through Germany, they encountered prisoners, starving, freezing, and barely alive, who had been forced on brutal death marches. Those Japanese-American soldiers, many of whom had family members of their own in internment camps here in the United States, never hesitated. They broke open the gates, gave their own rations and clothing, and carried weakened survivors to safety. George quoted in his book, "Wonder of wonders, we are liberating people from their internment camps here in Germany, but my own people are still being held in internment camps in the country on which I'm fighting for." These acts remind us that heroism is not only in combat, but also in compassion. In the willingness to bring hope into the darkest places, when we honor the 442nd today, we honor not just distant heroes, but one of our own, George Oy. As we honor all of our veterans today, we may carry their stories forward. May we remember their sacrifices, not just in words, but in the way we live, in gratitude, with respect, and with commitment of serving others. And I'd like to take this time to point out a few of the people here today who are responsible. If any of you have seen the Japanese memorial that is in our Veterans Park, if you haven't seen it, stop by and see it. I'd like to thank the Lilly family, Bud Lilly, who first put it up by his hotel, and Sean Gifford, who saw it there, and the veterans of the American Legion decided that it deserved a better spot. So they put it with them over at the Veterans Memorial. So I encourage each one of you to stop by and read it. It's a great tribute. And I thank you, Sean, for all the work that you did. Now, to every veteran here and to those who are no longer with us, thank you, because we stand here free, safe, and proud for what you did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Randy. And again, I want to give a big hand out to Sean for moving that 442nd Memorial. Bud Lilly had actually donated a piece of his property to be a park in Three Forks. And financial responsibility, Sean, talked with the VFW, the American Legion, turned his plaque into a giant bronze plaque to stand the test of time, and it is mounted right out there at Veterans Park, and it is gorgeous. It was a wonderful ceremony to put that into. So thank you very much, Sean. At this time, we are bringing a handful of these awesome kids back up to the stage. What have I got here? I've got the 11/11 March from 2YK. And while they're loading the stage, I mean, I don't know. If any of you guys haven't gone out and read some of the stories that I Go for Broke Battalion, I've got familial ties to one of the gentlemen who was in the book. And then there were 8. And that was an entire company that was taken down to 8 people. That was the only that survived out of 64 and out of their entire battalion. So one heck of a group of people that did everything they could for a country that was holding their families. So here we go, 11/11 March. Thank you. Thank you again to 2YK. The 11/11 March. All right. I do want to thank everyone for coming out today, joining us for this Veterans Day program. Again, I want to thank what it says for just being here. It means you appreciate the American way of life. You understand the commitment of democratic government, and you know the freedom that we enjoy is not free. The true cost of that freedom is a price most can't even fathom, but is a price that will be paid as long as brave men and women choose freedom over evil or tyranny. Today is a day for every citizen to remember and honor the sacrifice of all the nation's veterans. It's important to celebrate the service of all of our veterans, those who fought during times of war, those who fought to maintain peace. Because being a veteran at peace, or being a veteran at peacetime, is sometimes overshadowed. The strength and force projection of a peacetime military keeps many of us out of conflicts of a current day. And so I know a lot of folks at Veterans Day kind of do feel like overshadowed by that. And so combat veteran, peacetime veteran, doesn't matter. You are all vital to America's strength. At this time, almost have everybody loaded. We have in service of our country by the kindergartners. Thank you. Thank you very much, kindergartners. All right. Moving forward at this time, we have Stars and Stripes Forever from the Three Forks Band. Outstanding. Thank you again, Three Forks Band. At this time, we have coming to the stage our troops, our veterans from the first grade.
Care for the people, our troops and
you first graders. That was awesome. All right. At this time, let me see here. I want to kind of, just like the school here and what they're doing, we as members of the VFW, the American Legion, Vietnam Veterans of America, our auxiliaries, we're to remind the nation that Veterans Day isn't just another holiday on a calendar. It's a profound reminder of not only the commitment and courage of all those who have served, but the painstakingly high cost of freedom paid by those who have selflessly sacrificed. As a veteran, I want to help ensure that the importance of Veterans Day is understood by all, and I encourage all veterans to keep living, keep serving, and keep leading for all those that can't, but also for them and their families to engage in conversations, to share your experiences, and participate in community events just like this. These will raise awareness and honor our military and veteran community. We must make it our shared mission to educate and remind future generations that at its core, the American spirit is defined by resilience, selflessness, and commitment. And that's for all. That's not just our veterans, that's, our teachers, workers, first responders, everybody out there that's putting in time to make America what it is right now. So thank you everyone in this community who's here today. Coming to the stage, we have the second graders with How Do You Tell a Veteran Thank You? Kind of the point I've been waiting for. I get to bring to the stage one of Three Forks' own, all the way through the high school system and everything else. Got to kind of give the quick bio here for our guest speaker today. Sergeant Major Aaron Butler is a native of Three Forks, Montana. He enlisted in the United States Army Reserve on December 7th, 2004, and is currently serving as the Command Sergeant Major of the 388th Multifunction Media Battalion, headquartered in Hays, Kansas. He holds the Airborne, Air Assault, Pathfinder, and Expert Field medical badges. He completed humanitarian aid missions to Honduras and combat deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan, with overseas assignments including Qatar, Italy, with additional missions in Kenya, Morocco, the Dominican Republic, and Indonesia. The Sergeant Major is a graduate of the Master Leader course and all the preceding professional military education courses. His special skills courses include the Joint Humanitarian Operations course, Battle Staff, Company Team Leader course, Basic Combatant Instructor course, and the Medical Logistics course. His notable awards and decorations include the Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Award, Joint Service Commendation Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, 4th Award, Joint Service Achievement Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal, 11th Award. He is a member of the Sergeant Artie Murphy Club and was the 2009 United States Army Reserve Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. Sergeant Major Butler holds a Bachelor's of Science in Environmental Science from Montana State University, and he is an avid outdoorsman and traveler, having visited 58 countries. He is married to Corinne Patterson, and they live in Pony, Montana. Sergeant Butler. Come on.
You can go for it. There's some open seats, or you can just sit right down front. All right, well, they're getting situated. I'll get started. Students and faculty at Three Forks Schools, members of the community, neighbors, friends, and fellow veterans, good morning. And thank you for welcoming me back to speak once again at the best annual Veterans Day program in this state. It's great to, yeah, good job. It's great to be home. Yes, many moons ago, I too roamed these halls. In fact, earlier this year, I celebrated my 20-year high school reunion with my fellow classmates of 2005, a year for which most on this side of the room doesn't seem that long ago, and some on that side of the room are wondering if those memories are in black and white. This is the third time I've been invited to speak at this program. The first time was in 2010. I was a young, hard-charging staff sergeant, still wet behind the ears, had knees and ankles that worked reliably without complaint, hadn't yet formed any strong opinions on power tool brands. And I shared a message about how I'd found my niche in the Army thanks to my upbringing here in Three Forks. I grew up attending the Methodist Church down the street, and I got to know a lot of our community's veterans through that congregation, like Boots Myers and Ralph Wilcox, Tom Caldwell and Ted Schlepp, and of course Ray Lau. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and they were certainly part of the village that raised me. I left Three Forks ingrained with the belief that a person is only as good as their word, that strength is measured in perseverance and love, that people ought to stand up for a handshake, sit down for dinner, and remember that you can't build a reputation based on what you're going to do. These values sync neatly with the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. And through those shared values, I found a second home in the profession of arms. The next time I returned to speak here was in 2016. I was a slightly more seasoned Sergeant First Class with a penchant for World War II documentaries and only one knee to the pot regularly. I'd recently returned from an assignment working at Army Reserve Headquarters, and I shared a message of thanks. During this season of Thanksgiving, and on the day that I was being thanked for my service, I shared some of the many ways in which I was thankful for my service, including the special training opportunities I had been afforded, my education enabled by the GI Bill, and my travel opportunities, which have taken me around the world time and time again. They've also included my brothers and sisters in arms, and the lifelong friends I'd come to know through our shared military service. And above all, it included my citizenship, because after having served our country in both times of war and peace, I am even more thankful now than ever to be an American. Since that speech, I've been busy. I went back for another stint in Afghanistan. I completed a 2-year assignment in Italy as part of Southern European Task Force Africa, and I served a rotation with Joint Task Force Bravo in Honduras. It was during that tour of duty that I participated in one of the most fulfilling operations of my life, and I want to share that story now because it's a great example of the good that our military does throughout the world. In November of 2020, Hurricane Eta struck the coast of Honduras and Nicaragua and slowly worked its way inland. Central Honduras is very mountainous, and most of the rivers in those mountains all drain to the north through the Sula Valley into the Caribbean Sea. As the storm continued pushing northwest, it slowed down over these mountains and dumped more rain in one night than the entire country had seen in the entire previous year. By the time the storm turned into the north into the Caribbean the next day, flash floods were already sweeping across the entire Northern Territory. And then 10 days later, Hurricane Iota also made landfall and added even more water to the fray. The damage was catastrophic. What wasn't washed away was underwater or buried in mud and debris. Roads and bridges were destroyed, mudslides had swept several villages off of hillsides, and the entire Sula Valley was submerged in floodwaters. Joint Task Force Bravo immediately responded with a joint team of soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen to render humanitarian assistance. As a Pathfinder, I was specially trained in air traffic control and landing zone operations. Thus, I was tasked as landing zone controller, directing the movement of 6 U.S. Army helicopters, 2 U.S. Navy helicopters that came in off a ship in the Pacific, 3 Honduran Air Force helicopters, and 1 Colombian Army helicopter. And you want to talk about a comms package. I had 2 box radios behind me, one with a 40-foot antenna to talk to helicopters within about 20 miles, one with a satellite dish so I could have over-the-horizon communication back to base. I had a radio in my cargo pocket with a headset and a whip antenna to talk to helicopters circling the LZ. I had another handheld radio to talk to the Honduran soldiers, and a Motorola radio to talk to the fuelers, medics, and other enablers on the ground. Even though I was stationary for most of it, I may never have worked as hard in my life as I did for those 24 days running that LZ. Fortunately, I had 3 Honduran lieutenants glued to my side to help with translating, because even though I took Spanish 1 through 4 here at Three Forks High, I was not good enough to understand what those pilots were saying through the radio. In fact, practicing my Spanish actually proved my detriment later on when I was stationed in Italy, because every time I'd try to carry on a conversation in Italian, I'd end up slipping back to Spanish because they're such similar languages. And the Italians would always get super offended. They're like, oh, Italian is not Spanish. And I'd be like, yeah, but you knew what I was trying to say. And I eventually digressed to just saying, mi dispiace, signore, non parlo italiano, solo inglese, which is simply, I'm sorry, sir, I don't speak Italian, only English. And they'd always say, but you're speaking Italian right now. And I'd be like, yeah, and that's it. That's all of it. I have no more Italian to offer, I'm sorry. Anyway, back to Honduras. For the first few days following each storm, we ran rescue and recovery operations, literally scooping people up off of rooftops and islands. Nearly every evacuee getting off the helicopters would file past my position at the radios, and the sheer range of emotions I witnessed, from the shock and exasperation of having everything you owned washed away, to resounding joy and gratitude after being saved from a hopeless situation, is something that will always stick with me. Anyone who's been around helicopters knows they're loud, very loud. And after the first day of running rescue ops and seeing everyone offloading while covering their ears, I went to a nearby hardware store that was up out of the floodwaters and bought every pair of earmuffs they had on hand. We sent these earmuffs out with every pickup mission, and they worked so well that we even got a baby to fall asleep on the helicopter. After rescue ops wound down, we transitioned to food and water aid delivery. Copeco, which is the Honduran equivalent of FEMA, would bring in truckloads of bags filled with rice, beans, pasta, and other staples, and we'd load them onto the helicopters for transport out to the villages that had been cut off by landslides or floods. In total, after 24 days of continuous operations, our response team rescued 692 people and delivered 238,000 pounds of food aid. And a few on the team even managed to grow some pretty respectable mustaches to boot. It was truly a joint effort that showcased our military's ability to help those in need, and I am humbled and grateful to have been a part of it. And now I'm back, once again, to address this assembly of great Americans. I'm now a sergeant major with knees and ankles that aren't as good as they once were, but are as good once as they ever were, and a nearly complete line of DeWalt power tools to suit any occasion. But this is it as far as promotions go. There are no more pay grades above this one, just increasing levels of responsibility. I'm eligible to retire from the Army Reserve, but I'm still serving because there are junior soldiers in my formation that need the leadership experience and lessons that I've gained over my career. And for the benefit of any aspiring leaders in the crowd, seniors, listen up, I'll share a few of those now. Effective leadership at any level is amplified through three fundamental characteristics: energy, enthusiasm, and confidence. Leaders must approach every task, ordeal, and opportunity with the energy to meet the challenge at hand, the enthusiasm to encourage others to follow suit, and the confidence to convince those followers they're in good hands. Leading by example is a deeper charge than simply doing what's right when others are watching. It requires a dedication to excellence and a commitment to integrity that leaves no doubt in anyone's mind that you are on the right path, and they should be too. Extremely few people have found success completely on their own, and no leader ever has. Life is a team sport. Never be afraid to lean on those around you for help during challenging times. To paraphrase an old proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I am proud to have gone far with the support of the village that raised me. In closing, I'd like to thank the VFW and Three Forks Schools for allowing me the opportunity to speak here today. My wife, Corinne, for her love and support as I continue my career as a soldier. And I would especially like to thank the veterans in the crowd who served before my generation. Now we've got the watch. Thank you.
That is one outstanding guest speaker, one of your own, that truly does get what this community is all about and what it brings to this nation as a whole. I can't say enough about 99% of the veterans that I've met in this crowd. I'd go 100% of the veterans I've met in this crowd. And what they've given to this country, what they've brought back to this community, just absolutely outstanding. So thank you again, Aaron. Phenomenal. At this time, we have come to the stage, Armed Forces, the Pride of America, by the Three Forks Choir.
As we get to your branch's fight song, please feel free to stand as you're able and join us. Starting with the United States Army. United States Marines.
Proud
United States Coast Guard. United States Air Force.
Waiting for a Star Wars theme to go for the Space Force folks. I don't think they've come up with a song yet. I figured that you were dun, 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 dun. All right. I know that not everybody stood that was supposed to stand, and I know that there's a bunch of spouses that'll dig some elbows in. So let's go ahead and walk through that service call out again. Where are our Army folks at? All right. Here we go. All right, thank you. And for those that can still stand, happy belated birthday. Where are my Marines at? There we go, Marines. I know there's a lot more of you in this crowd. All right, Navy. Let's get our Navy folks standing up again. There we go. It does seem like there's a lot more standing now that you didn't think you had to sing. All right, do we have any Space Force yet? I'm really hoping eventually we will have the parent of a Guardian in here, because that sounds like just the funnest service on the planet. All right, and Coast Guard. I know we got a couple of Coasties. Coast Guard? I know there's a couple in the community. So. All right, thank you again, everyone, for your service. Thank you again, Three Forks Band. At this time, Air Force. Oh, those guys. The hotel said you guys were still sleeping. Air Force! Sorry to pick on you, Air Force. All right. At this time, we have your service to our country from the fourth graders. Thank you very much, fourth grade. That was awesome. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and invite the American Legion Auxiliary up here for quilt presentations. All right, I've got the majority of the auxiliary present, and they prepare to continue their annual tradition of presenting quilts to all the veterans in our community. They'd like to extend a special thank you to the community members, and if you're part of one of these groups, please stand just to be recognized. We've got the Stitch and Bees, the Quilt for Fun group, members of the Gallatin County Quilt Guild, and just the standard veteran quilting group. So I would like to ask for a quick round of applause for these ladies. Many of them have spent a lot of their own, well, they definitely donated a lot of their own time, but they spent a lot of their own money on materials to help the Three Forks American Legion Post 93 Auxiliary in their mission to get a quilt to every veteran in the Headwaters area. So as we call these veterans forward, we would ask that those who were not able to make it, have a family member come up, but I see both of those veterans here today. I have George Chancellor, please step up. That's U.S. Navy. I don't know which one you know. You guys have a side? You have George. Okay, George, you're over here on the right, or left. All right, and then Jill Peterson, U.S. Army. All right. Both of these are outstanding members of the community who have tried hard to avoid coming up here and being recognized. Please stand by for a picture. These ladies would love to have a picture of you guys wrapped in love. So, can we get you guys together over here in the corner? You're standing by for a picture. Thank you guys so very much. Thank you again to our quilt makers.